Hello friends, it's Carla back today, and I'm really excited to give you a look at the new Woodland Harvest release. It's a stamp and die release, and you can see that there is a ton of stamps and dies included in this collection. We're going to color some of these stamped images with Nuvo alcohol markers. I've actually put my markers by color family into these 3 containers, but you can get 3 separate containers, different variations of colors. I have colored a few of these images already, and I thought we would color some of them together. I'm using a lot of fall type colors. This release is going to be so lovely to do for your fall cards, Thanksgiving, and I've just pulled out some colors that I feel like will go with that feel. With alcohol markers, I usually start with the darker color. So I will go along the edge and lay down a little bit of whatever color I'm using that is the darkest shade. Alcohol markers blend together. Sometimes you have to leave them for a minute after you put them together, and you'll see that they blend out nicely. And then I go in with my second shade, so the lighter shade, and I will usually go over the darker shade that I first put down and then color in the remainder of the image. And this just gives a look that there's a little bit of shading, and then there's a little bit of highlighting, a little bit lighter area. I don't worry too much about my shaded areas. I just want it to look like there's a little variation in color. These images color up really nice and quickly. They are fairly small, but a really nice size for layering together. As you'll see when we get into making the cards, the little animals are so cute and they really go together well to create little scenes. So this collection has lots of different fall images and the critters, and they're great for combining together. This wreath I don't end up using on the cards, but I am definitely going to use it. There is so many images, and often when I get a new stamp set, I find it really helpful to stamp everything out and color it in and get them cut out, and then I have them in front of me and I can use those to make whatever I feel like making, cards or scrapbook pages, and whatever's left over I will just keep together, and then I can pull those out when I want to make another card. The little squirrel we're doing in a little bit of a gray, but of course you could use browns or blacks or a lighter gray as well, or you can color him whatever color you want. This is a little bit larger area than the wreath, so you can really see how laying down that darker color first and then adding in your lighter shades is going to give you that area with the shading. And I would say just practice coloring with alcohol markers. Some people like using the lighter shades first and coloring in the full area and then adding in the darker. And so really whatever works for you or you feel comfortable with. I love that he's got this adorable little scarf on, and he's holding this cute little acorn. And these are really pretty quick to color up. I usually take some coloring along with me if I'm going to my daughter's soccer games or someplace that I am sitting and watching, and I find that it's just a really nice way to be able to get some coloring done while I'm attending. So we're just going to color a few of these images up, and then we will come back and put some more things together. I'm even adding a little bit of the blender pen, which is actually a pen that will remove color. It doesn't really blend. And you can see I added little dots onto the mushroom there, and I've done that on the green tree as well. And it just adds some polka dot texture. So we've got all of the images colored, and I'm coming in with my small Tonic scissors for fussy cutting, and I've cut out any of the images that had coordinating dies. There are lots of dies in this set, and I love that they've given you some for your images, and they've given you some other ones that are great, like this basket and the leaves and flowers. And it really is quick to cut out these little images that are left there. I stamped the banner and added in some sentiments stamped with some colored ink. And the Tonic craft pick is really handy, especially for poking any of those little die cut areas. I really love that vase. I think there's so many things you can do with it, and the basket. There's the little mushroom. You can use either with or without that insert. Here we have some Nuvo hybrid inks. You can actually stamp with these and color in with your alcohol markers, or you can use water-based markers as well. We're going to do some ink blending on these die cut images. So I have cut out all the dies that would be standalone type dies, and I've cut those out of the Tonic Craft Perfect white cardstock. It's a really nice thick cardstock, and it's smooth, the smooth white, and we're going to color our die cuts, and this way we can kind of coordinate the color that we're looking for. This is a great way to use your die cuts without using colored cardstock, if you just want to cut everything out of white and then coordinate it yourself, and you get that really pretty sponged look that gives you the shading around the edge as well. I have the Tonic Media Grip mat here on my Tonic Glass Mat, and this provides a surface to grip either the ink pad or the die cut images, and it wipes clean. And I also have the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. It is a really great wet adhesive. It's got a thin tip. You can get an even thinner tip as well. And I've added the little insert pieces that you can add on to the little pumpkin. I really love this pumpkin. You could even cut those little pieces out of the pumpkin and make a shaker, which would be cute. And then I used my alcohol marker on the top of the stem. I have some of the domed foam blending sponges and then some of the flat ones. The dome ones I really like after using them. I just find they really apply the ink really nicely. Then I can go in with the alcohol markers and just add some shading and some highlights into that center and make this a sunflower. You could definitely color it any color you wanted and make a basket full of flowers for any season. There's a look at that tree up close with the little dots from the blending pen, and I added some of that onto the flower. And as that sits, you can see the areas where you did the dots kind of bleach out a little bit more. So I've got lots of inks in those pretty fall colors that I used for sponging and for coloring, and everything kind of coordinates. And now what I'm doing for the leaf die cuts is I'm going to blend. Here's that smooth card from Craft Perfect from Tonic. I'm going to blend a whole background just using those great fall colors. This does not need to be perfectly blended, and you're going to see once we cut out the leaves how amazing they look. So we're just taking each of the colors sometimes a lighter and a darker shade of those colors and adding it in, and it's going to look like a hot mess here for a little bit, and then once we do our die cutting, it's going to look amazing. As you let these inks sit as well, if you sponge a panel, you're going to see that the inks really soften and blend together as well as when you leave them. I even pulled out a little bit of purple. I think purples and greens and teals look nice for fall as well. So don't be afraid to add a little bit of purple into your fall projects. Here's our leaf dies. I am just going to go ahead and die cut them out of the back a few times, as many as I can get onto this panel. You can position them to fit onto whichever color, but you'll see after they're die cut that it doesn't really matter where you put them, they're going to look beautiful. I'm just going to go through with my craft pick and punch out all those die cuts, and even the background looks cool. We've got some more of the classic card in green. I cut out For You from that green, as well as a glossy black. And I grabbed some stencils from my stash. These are Tonic Stencils. I'm not sure for sure if they're still available in the shop, but I know if you can get your hands on any Tonic Stencils, they are beautiful. I've got a couple of those sheets of the media grip mat there. You can cut that easily so that it can fit underneath your A2 size or A7 cards, whatever size you want. And it's just really helpful to keep everything steady. So I just use whichever colors I felt like using. I'm just creating a little bit of a soft background with that stenciling in it, and you can see it just looks really nice. And then I can go through and pick out whichever die cuts or stamped images I want, start layering them on, and then after I get them positioned, I can glue them down and have my cards completed. I have the Craft Perfect foam squares, which work really nicely. And that'll give a little bit of dimension to my project. And then I just come in and use the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive to glue anything down that I want right down on the paper. Here's that first beautiful card, and then we'll move on and do the same thing again. If you have the steps down that you want to complete your cards, like doing your stenciling and then adding your images, it really goes pretty quick. And I was able to put all these cards together just by having everything all ready and set out. I have a couple hills here that I cut for some grass at the bottom of my card, and this makes it seem like more of a scene for this card. Then I can add all the little pieces. Sometimes I find that gluing the bottom and then putting some foam dots on the top part gives it dimension while keeping the bottom like the stem of that flower down. There are lots of sentiments on this set. I used some of the ink to color in that banner. And that cute little squirrel, I thought he looked so great with that acorn. I did bring in a little bit of blue just for my sky here. And again, we're creating a little bit of a scene. You've got a banner stamp on your stamp set, and then you've got those cute little banners. So I did almost like a little rainbow banner, and these two little forest animals are having a little Thanksgiving picnic, and I'm adding some little pilgrim hats on top and put some leaves in the background. I love how this turned out. I added in the little leaves there, and I added the classic card in black as a mat to all these cards, and let's have a look and go through the rest of these cards that we put together. I'm adding in some of Crystal Glaze. This is one of my favorite things to do. It's a clear glaze, and then I've got the white Blizzard glitter drops, and that adds just a shimmery, iridescent almost glitter. So adding those to a couple areas, as well as the shine from that crystal glaze, just brings your cards up a notch. Here's the For You card with the pretty pumpkin, and then we've got that flower basket there. I really love that. I have some dream drops. These are iridescent as well, and they have a really pretty shine to them when they dry, and you can just add them. The drops are self-leveling, so it will make a really nice little drop on your background. Here, this little hedgehog with the apple tree I thought was adorable, and the little wheelbarrow full of apples and the pumpkin. This is a beautiful fall card. And then we have that cute little owl with the sunflowers in the background. And I love adding that crystal glaze onto any little critter eyes. And the sign there's lots of sentiments that will fit into that sign. So you could use it in lots of different, on lots of different cards. The pretty design on the mushroom matches this card. And we're just adding a little bit of glitter to these lovely cups of cocoa, or maybe they're coffee, and that pie looks amazing. I also love these little mushrooms, and putting a little bit of that crystal glaze right on the top makes them look like a little epoxy sticker decoration. So here's a look at all of the finished cards. I had so much fun making these. Thanks so much to Tonic for having me, and I hope that you guys will check them out. Be sure to check the description where you will be able to find those in the Tonic Studios shop, along with the other supplies that I used today. Thanks so much for stopping by. I would love if you wanted to like and subscribe, and I hope you have an amazing day.